Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the GXPC. It is Season 5. It is Week 1. It is the year of 2019. Today is a Conference A match between the University of South Alabama and Full Send Gaming. What was the second part of the name? I don't remember. I'm moving on. My name is Hickory, and here with me is Kairos. It has been such a very long time since you have heard my voice, since I've seen all of y'all, but it is so good to see you. Kairos, how are you feeling tonight about It Is League of Legends, boys? It's time to go. How you feeling, buddy?
I'm feeling great. This is the second cast in 2 days. You're much more hype than I've ever been, ever will be, and it's feeling good. And just to set the tone, everybody, this is Hickory on coffee detox. 0 caffeine. Yes. This is a caffeine-free. I haven't drinking any caffeine since like 8 a.m. So this is a caffeine-free cast, but we're still going to be hype for you. Going to be loud, bringing it in, and we're gonna have Pick Band kicking off here. Actually, right now we're already in it.
It looks like we are in it. Absolutely, we are doing pro draft, of course. We do have a person named Rengar E-Boy on the side of South Alabama. So Rengar gets banned, of course. But run me through a couple of your kind of picks here. What do you think should be banned? What should be picked? Who is a star player on either of the sides? We don't know a lot of these teams very well, of course, because it's a newer season.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to know them a little bit better. Looking at Rengar E-Boy, very mysterious summoner there. But just the one game on the season, obviously the name, you have to draw that Rengar ban. We'll see if it's all just a ploy or not. And clearly the Galio has been a pick ban for the most part. There's been a lot of Galio, Lissandra. You pick one or you pick the other. That's kind of the meta that we've fallen into right now. Then Full Send picking up the Lucian without the Braum. They didn't want to really risk giving up the Braum in the bot lane regardless, but this pick ban's going by pretty fast as they grab the commander.
Yeah, definitely feels like people are kind of have an idea of what they're looking to. You did mention there's no Braum for the Lucian. Who do you want to see Lucian instead?
I know that a lot of bot lanes, they just go all in on the dominating early lane presence, so Lucian pairs pretty well still with the Alistar that is available, and the Pyke was actually banned out against Full Send against From Below. So From Below, obviously the Pyke namesake that they didn't want to give that over to, which could have been a good pairing with the Lucian, but I think that they'll go for another aggro support. I'd like to see the Alistar to get on top of that Kate and kind of oh, there it is. Wow, that's a pretty good prediction right there.
Yeah, Cowman comes out in the first round. Pretty nice. Is there anything that you need to see swing out? We did see a Sion and a Caitlyn actually come out from the University of Alabama. South Alabama, excuse me. Anything in particular they need to ban out with this missing mid lane and top lane from Full Send Gaming?
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see the Sejuani ban there, just the safest jungler. And then kind of their safe lane so far with the Sion going into the top lane. As far as University of South Alabama's bans, they might want to get rid of the Lissandra, pretty safe mid laner, a lot of roam potential, does just fine into Galio, just one of the staples in the meta right now that they might want to take off the table to force a more one-sided matchup in the mid lane. To try and get that Galio ahead, but we'll see if they do that with their last ban or not.
Okay, I'm kind of waiting to see what these next coming bans are to see where the rest of the direction is. A Leona, interesting. Definitely not thinking that Sion is support, as I love to see. And the final ban from University is going to be.
We still got 15 seconds. I think they might milk all of that, kind of planning for the last little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised for South Alabama to go ahead and pick up the Caitlyn. The Caitlyn Caitlyn Morgana can be a really strong duo in the bot lane. Just a lot of kill pressure. If you're able to land a trap or a binding, you kind of guarantee that. There's the Lissandra that I kind of would have liked to see banned, but they seem to think that the Victor Caston were more in the wheelhouse there. For Full Send, so they get the Lissandra through. And then there's the how many of these have I called?
Damn, bro, that's like probably 4.
that's 3. All 3 of them that I said would happen. I should have said something about Graves. That was kind of Rengar E-Boy.
Right, what's the last one? Come on.
The last one?
Four.
They need the top laner. What's safe?
Come on.
It's probably going to be like a Maokai.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not I wouldn't be that surprised to see Camille in the top lane, but that'd be an interesting flex at this point.
What? That's even weirder.
I would never have predicted the Volibear coming out for that last pick, but we got half of them. We got a lot of good predictions with not a lot of prep, not a lot of caffeine. So far so good, I'd say.
Oh, that's amazing. This is gonna be fun. Oh crap, I did that wrong. Hold on, wait. All right, so now we got to run through the funness that is pro draft by drafting once more. But we can run through things a little bit quicker. So obviously, it's a new season, it's a new year, it's a new dawn on the GXPC. So how do you feel about now that we have these drafts? How do these teams play out? You did briefly kind of mention Caitlyn Morgana in the bot lane. That is a really, really kind of core bot lane. I think people have seen it a bunch of times. But like, how does I don't know, Volibear Lissandra work, for instance?
Well, when I kind of look at team comps, I look around a lot of the damage types, if they're well balanced between magic damage, physical damage, if they're tanky enough, or if they're lacking in that department. And then also a big piece that we've seen affecting games recently is just their engage potential, of how easily they can start off fights and how easily they can close those out. So if they get a strong engage. And I think that both teams have decent options. The Galio Scion combination is really strong to start off a fight for South Alabama. And then the Camille Alistar Lissandra, there's a ton of pick potential there as well. So both teams are going to be looking to start the fights and engage. They have the tools to do so. And that gives me the feeling that this is going to be a very snowbally game. That whichever team gets further ahead, they have a lot of tools that they can use to pull the trigger, force those fights, and snowball their lead even further. It's going to be really difficult for either team to disengage the fights as they would like to. Instead, they have to be really respectful of the engage range from both sides of the rift.
So I don't want to go off. I like that point a lot, but I want to move into a different point in that we don't technically know whether Camille or Volibear is top or jungle. We can probably assume more so that Camille is going to be top lane. But is there any flex potential based on their matchups in Scion and Graves? And who would you like to see against whom?
And of those, I know that I am kind of a fan of the Camille versus the Graves just for her ability to opt in or opt out of fights at her own will. Graves is a little bit less mobile than she is and kind of wants to power farm a little bit more, where Camille is going to be looking to gank lanes early, get a lot of map impact in the early game. So I would be more of a fan for the Camille, as she has those options. She can just E away if she doesn't want to fight. And also she still scales well at the same time. So I would be a fan of the Camille into Graves in the jungle. And honestly, Scion is kind of a lane that it's not the most deadly, but I think we get the answer there. It looks like so. Camille locked into the top lane. Volibear will be in the jungle for Trick, so they're feeling more comfortable with that matchup.
Yeah, they did get, I'm sorry, I'm choking slightly. They did get the Camille into the Scion in the top lane, maybe trying to control the side lanes a little bit better. I just wanted to mention really quickly that, folks, if you have not bet on this match yet, you need to get it in the next 30 minutes. Tell us who you think is going to win. Get your points, get your skins and whatever various things you may or may not earn. I'm not entirely certain, but if you bet, you might win and you might be able to brag about it to the other people in the chat. But you have to get it in the next 30 minutes before this match goes. Tell us who you think, because Kairos, who do you think is going to win?
Oof, you're putting the pressure on me. You're the one asking the question, so I have to answer. I should have been better prepared for that.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to answer at all because I'll embarrass myself.
Well, I'm thinking that in this one, I think that Volibear is a little bit too far out of the meta. The rest of the pieces do fall into place. There's a lot of engaged potential, and I think that the Camille does have quite a bit of pressure on the Scion in the scaling department. They just have a lot of ways to start fights. So I would give the edge to Full Send in this one, just knowing their win conditions. They have quite a few ways to start off fights, and I think that they'll have really solid objective control going into the mid and late game, where the side of South Alabama they have good potential, but Galio is kind of the main AP source. So if he's not trading off some of that damage for tankiness, then he'll probably go down pretty quick in these fights. Then they're going to be very one-sided into a team that can stack armor somewhat efficiently with the Volibear All-Star. And they are swapping a little bit here, so they might switch it
Yeah.
up with the Camille Jungle.
They did draft it as if it was Camille top, maybe to kind of switch people's runes around, but they do have until I believe it's like what 20 seconds, something like that, until they can swap. And a little trick there, I actually kind of like it. And you were actually saying that you wanted the Camille into the Grace, correct?
Absolutely, and I'm a coach, by the way, so they might have been listening to the stream, decided to weigh those opinions, and I just kidding, no credit at all. I'm sure that they have their own reasons for what they did. So it's an interesting Volibear. I can't say that Volibear top is less meta than Volibear in the jungle. It's just not either way. So weird flex, but all right.
I like cute polar bears, and I would definitely hug if allowed. So I'm down.
You should be a coach too, I think.
I
We need more of that.
I would be a fantastic coach because I base things much more on look, appeal, and pleasure than really anything else.
Well, then Volibear is the perfect champion for you. That and a Moo. So you can be a Moo Volibear one trick.
I'm a Yasuo one trick.
Yasuo one trick. And
Sorry.
what are you thinking for level ones? Are we going to be looking out for anything tricky going on here? What do you want to see?
Okay, no, I gotta play my game. Kairos. Who do you think is going to get first blood on whom at what moment in the game?
Oof. I think that the warding is going to be on point, knowing the Camille's ability to gank. So I expect the Lucian to get a little bit too aggressive early on, get hit by Morgana Bind, Caitlyn Trap, and then go down without the Alistar being able to do anything at 4 minutes 38 seconds.
You think Alistar dies at 4 minutes 38 seconds?
I think Lucian dies.
I'm sorry.
4 minutes 38 seconds to Caitlyn. That's my prediction here.
I didn't realize that actually the Morgana and Caitlyn are in different hands.
Oh yeah, they are. That's interesting. I wonder if they missed the swap.
Did they just put themselves in the wrong order in draft? I'm not certain. Well, at any rate, UA Mag, I'm assuming that is University of South Alabama, Mag, will be piloting the Morgana, and Nutrinks, a familiar name, will be piloting the Caitlyn. So, any closing thoughts? I guess here's a really good one. Is this a 2-0, a 2-1, a 1-2 for whom? Ooh, you only see one draft, but I don't care. Just decide.
I have to call it now before anything else?
Yeah.
Don't we have a commercial break? Can we talk about it when we come back?
No.
All right, I'm going to say 2-1 full send.
2-1 full send, and I think you said that this game was going full send, right?
Yes, I did predict it.
So you're thinking one full send, one Alabama, one full send. Well, folks, we're going to a commercial break. We'll see you in a few moments. Don't touch that dial. Roll Tide, mother.
My name is Geek. Games XP is a geek paradise. We carry everything from Pong and Atari all the way to Xbox One and PS4, and all the games that would go with those consoles as well. We also carry a ton of movies. We have handheld games. We have Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon. We have D&D and Pathfinder. We carry Warhammer 40K. We have a vintage Star Wars selection. This place is great. My wife and I have had 6 kids, and they are so much fun to work with here at the store. They run the store as much as I do.
And we now repair cell phones, game consoles, computers, and small electronics.
Our store is instant fun. Not only is there cool music and cool stuff to look at, but we have a game room that is so much fun. It's free to play, and you just plug in your game system and enjoy life. The GXPC motto is bringing joy to people's lives through our products, people, and a place to play. So you have got to come to Decorah, Iowa and check out GXPC and experience this geek gaming paradise.
So, welcome back, folks, to FSG Eternity versus University of South Alabama. I hope you enjoyed the words from our sponsors, as they are quite enjoyable, intriguing, and you should check them out if you are in the South Iowa area. Kairos, I do remember you saying 430 something on the cow. 430.
438. Caitlyn kills Lucian.
438. Man, I've just totally butchered that. 438. Caitlyn kills Lucian. I'll remember that now. So I did we did come up with an interesting conversation that I want to bring the Twitch chat into. So the mascots here is a Woofy pup and a Jaguar kitty. And I want to know what your opinions are in a 1v1 fight between the Jaguar and the Woofy pup. Now, see, me as an environmentalist and a care for the animals, I think that they will kiss each other and make fun little frenzies, and they'll play together, and, you know, it'll be great and all. But you might have differing opinions, as some of you have a little bit of bloodier options. And by the way, the chat does need to be changed. Chat is correct that we need to have Caitlyn in a different position.
Yeah, Nick, let's bump up that Kate. Get Nutrinks 1 up, and then we're all set to go.
And we are indeed set to go with a missing bear in the top lane.
Yeah, give him Camille a small leash. He's gonna eat that Q. Yeah, it's a good trade. Then there's immediate level 2
hook
gank.
shot in the mid lane, pulls up the shield, but it might not be enough. The taunt comes out. Flash as well. Flash at level 2 pretty easily without a lot given from both sides.
Yeah, they completely telegraphed that, honestly. Volibear didn't show, so it was clear that he was leashing. The bot lane showed up in lane immediately. I have no idea why Galio let himself stay up that far, knowing that the Camille was starting red buff. So that's a pretty big mistake. Fortunately, Lissandra doesn't have the most kill pressure. We're getting another gank.
Chrismeister might be ganked as well from the side of Rengar Evo. He's not playing as Rengar, but he is pretty close with the Graves. A lot lower health. Flash comes out for Chrismeister, but here comes the hook shot coming back from Trick. First blood does go over to the side of Alabama. They might be able to get second one, and the return does go for Trick. He gets one kill as he flashes out, but I think he's going to trade his life as well. Double kill for Rengar, one kill for the side of Eternity, excuse me.
Yeah, I spoke too soon, and maybe it was all just an elaborate bait for Galio to get a lead there in lane. So now he's going to have the advantage, or actually he uses his TP, but he will have the second Doran's ring that he picks up there. So small advantage, but really the big problem is going to be this Graves coming up. 2 kills. Another fight here.
Yeah, there's a lot of healing coming out of the Pretty Bear. I do want to mention that Chrismeister did not use his teleport. After he died, he chose to just walk it back, and he's only 4 CS down.
Yeah, so he gets to preserve that kind of mobility spell. The wave was going to push back into him, so clearly he understood the wave coming back he wasn't going to miss very much by walking versus TPing. So it's a pretty smart to save the teleport there. HMO3 trying to get the push in, but isn't able to push it fast enough. Really going to look for the Graves now, full jungle item up on the Camille to start exerting a lot of pressure on her. Can kind of just power farm and then be there for any counter ganks, any match ganks, as Camille still is going to be pretty gank dependent to remain relevant in the game, as her clear is not as strong as the Graves is. So she's going to have some successful ganks as we see top.
They do know where Trick is on the right side of the map, so Rengar does look towards Grave Revenge. He is pretty tanky, but they knew exactly where Trick was. Actually, Mag, the Morgana, had picked him up really quickly with a ward down there by the blue buff, making that gank pretty easy and scouted out. And it might actually, Trick might get stuck here a little bit as he's continually just matched here. But I don't think Rengar wants to push it too far. As he comes back once again, this might be scary with the Graves shots as they go right into the wall, but they do get a kill release. A killing spree for Rengar. Tons of damage coming out to level 5 Graves to the level 3 for Camille. And amazingly, Anthony got out of there as well.
That's a pretty huge misplay, but they're TPing back in. I think that they'll just leave, but Trick misses the hook shot, so she's not able to get to stun while they have turret aggro. So that is a pretty unfortunate, and this Graves is already 3-0 at 5 minutes. My prediction was wildly inaccurate, and with the first Drake being an Infernal, they're going to look to really kind of exert pressure on that bot half of the map, I expect. And then they're going to force the Lucian Braum to roam over there, and at this point, Graves is going to win any fight that comes his way with the huge advantage that he's built up for himself.
It's very, very scary, and you're right. There are pings going down on the Infernal Drake that is hotly contested. It's not a Cloud Drake, it's not an Ocean Drake, it's not even a Mountain Drake in this early. It's one of the most important Drakes in the game, and Rengar Evo is already on the case. He is going to push Trick off of the Scuttle Crab, and I believe he will be able to capture it, as well give himself even more pressure. He's definitely not a Rengar Trick anymore, but let's see if he wants to go to the bot lane before he does go for this dragon. It looks like HMO3 is also rotating. They're all in the bot lane, but I'm not sure enough is really going to go on for a fight. It looks like Wind and From below kind of are sniffing this out, as the two top laners are still just kind of trading one for one. What is Volibear build, by the way?
Volibear build, I think that he's just going to go for the Righteous Glory and stack some armor, especially, oh, they're going for the Drake. We might see a fight coming up here, so hold that thought.
Yeah, it does actually look like Nutrients, Mag, and Rengar are on the Drake. Wind from below are trying to poke it out. They probably don't have enough pressure on it, as Rengar is going to take it up. Let's see if the fight does continue, but it looks like with HMO3's rotation, that'll be just about it, as Anthony has unstoppably onslaught away from Grave Revenge. He looks okay for now. Chrismeister still hasn't TP'd, interestingly enough.
Yeah, Chris Meister's been holding on to that. It really didn't get much of him, didn't give him much advantage for that Drake fight. So they did a great job, South Alabama, of just pushing up the lane and then rotating for that Infernal Drake, using the 3-0 Graves to really exert a lot of pressure. Grave Revenge fighting here.
Yeah, he's pretty low even with the Volibear regen. He's going to blow that flash, unfortunately. Anthony seems to be pretty pleased with that after he just returned with his own TP. And Grave without his is going to have to walk it back. This is so far a pretty impressive showing from the side of University of South Alabama. Not just from their jungler, but all lanes seem to be pretty comfortably either even or advanced, except for a slight disadvantage in the mid lane. But I think he's been rotating enough for it. But a flash forward from Rengar really is feeling this. Forces Chrismeister's flash, and the final, collateral damage is going to be finally enough for Rengar to finish that off. He felt that instantly from before he was even in the river. Pretty easy kill for him.
Yeah, Rengar E-Boy is just showing a really good understanding of his damage output. He knows if he can get a kill, he knows if he can't get a kill. Flashed very aggressively to chase down to Lissandra after she had already used all of her abilities to try and get away, but closes the kill. They might be collapsing.
He might be caught out here, but actually it's going to be him who's caught out upon Wind from below. From below as a flash. Wind didn't even get the flash out of that or heal. He was utterly gone, and the Nutrinx's ace in the hole is not going to be just enough. And another kill goes to the way of Rengar E-Boy. He's 5-0 in 8 and 30 seconds about. Clipping at over a kill in about a minute and a half.
And do you remember how I said this was going to be a very snowbally game, right?
Yep.
Yep, that's exactly what we're seeing. Basically, the Graves has gotten fed, and they might be get this Camille too.
On to Trick. He does have flash, though, and he gets away with the cost of his flash. But that's 3 members of the side of University of Alabama basically living in the bot side jungle. Only 9 minutes into the game. They don't have a single tower down, and they feel comfortable enough to be constantly invading, taking away the blue buffs, taking away the wolves and the Gromp, and now they're going to just start sieging things down pretty comfortably. Nutrinx is just calmly farming in the bot lane as Rengar E-Boy goes a little bit deep, but with the help of HMO3 and Mag, he is going to pick up his 6th kill of the game, well beyond a kill every 2 minutes, and basically has a run of the entire game.
Yeah, this Camille can't even go into her own jungle right now. It's basically just been all Rengar E-Boy, and you make the point that they don't have any of their turrets down yet, but I think that all of this turret plating is theirs to take. They have 4 minutes left, and when we talk about a snowbally game, there is a second Infernal Drake coming up here in a minute and 30 seconds. So I expect Rengar E-Boy to finish up his top clear, maybe gank top, and then head down to be around for that Infernal Drake. We might be getting a fight up here if Volley isn't safe.
Yeah, and actually Rengar E-Boy is here as well. He does have collateral damage, but it doesn't even going to need it. Anthony, just with a quick Q, is going to smash the bear down. I guess Axe beats Claws pretty easily. One thing that I am kind of noticing is actually my absolute favorite thing as an ADC player, especially as a crit ADC player in Caitlyn, is when your team is utterly smashing and you literally have to do nothing for basically 30 minutes until you have 4 items, and you get to get a quad kill and pretend like you carried the game, and it is beautiful.
And with the Lucian down, well, he's died once, not down in CS, but just not exerting a ton of pressure. Really, I think that this is kind of game over for a really fed Rengar, and then a bot lane that's supposed to be winning that really hasn't been contributing anything for their team. They haven't been exerting nearly enough pressure. Lissandra has been kept at her turret with the Galio wave clear and has not been able to roam or use the teleports or really have any impact on the map, and Camille isn't even a champion right now. We don't even need to talk about that, that aspect.
I do feel like Mag has a very strong control of the bot lane, because Lucian Alistar is a pretty scary lane, and I haven't felt really scared by Wind by any means of this game, and as Nutrinx seems you can farm pretty easily. And it is kind of weird. I mean, you mentioned that this game is nearly over, and I almost want to say no, but at the same time I almost want to say yes, because of how the game has accelerated so much coming into the Season 9, with the way that towers become basically paper at this point, with the way that gold becomes. It is incredible how fast games are going and how fast they ratchet up when you have a 6-0 and one jungler, among other things. It's incredible how fast the game goes. He has 100% kill participation, I just noticed. The closest being only 4 of 7. A fight is going to break out in the bot lane. HMO3 will try to come in. He probably gets the taunt off onto From Below. From Below might be the sacrificial cow to try and get Wind out. Wind does look like he's pretty comfortably out, but a kill for Nutrinks, and collateral damage picks up a kill on Grave Revenge. Where did he even come from, and where did Rengar come from for this very easy kill? Anthony wants in as well, but he does miss, and it looks like Chris Meister is going to probably walk it out, but a 2 for 0 and the Infernal coming from the side of University of South Alabama. This is a terrifying team, Paris.
Yeah, they basically lost the entire map there. The second Infernal Drake going down. Sion's able to rotate into the mid lane for free. So since that top turret is already down, he's going to get a lot of damage. Might even kill her.
Yeah, the Golden does pop, but Lysandro's going to go down pretty easily. HMO3 picking up his first kill of the game, but he's already got 5 assists, and as a tanky Galio boy, that feels pretty good. And the mid lane tower does go down with the help of Nutrinks. Mag, interestingly enough, is in the bot lane. They're probably going to smash into the tier 2. As I was just mentioning, towers are like paper right now, and crit ADCs all of a sudden look really sexy, especially when they have really big guns. They're going to be going to the tier 3 at 1340 in the game. Flash Taunt comes out of HMO3, and a big damage coming out of Nutrinks. Easy kill picked up on a Trick. He has died for the 3rd time already. Third tower, tier 3 tower mid lane goes down as well at 1350 in the game. They're looking for From Below. He does not have his ultimate. He's not nearly as tanky as he normally is. And the inhibitor does go down. Wind pulls his entire ult, but has no damage left to go out. And all of a sudden, Nutrinks picks up another kill. And it looks like Alabama's trying to finish the game. 14 minutes in the game. I don't know if they have it just yet. But Nutrinks is on a killing spree all of a sudden after sitting and farming for so long. He doesn't even have his Storm Razor completed. He's just been relaxing. And a sub 14-minute inhibitor goes down.
Yeah, it's amazing to say that they took the inhibitor while there was still turret plating available on some of the outer turrets. It's really amazing. I think it was 3 minutes ago that we were saying they hadn't touched any of the turrets on the outside. Now they've already taken top lane and 3 mid lane turrets and the inhibitor. While honestly, it's still open. There might be a fight here on the top.
And Trick does wall shot away, but geez, hook shot, excuse me. That was a little bit scary. I think he did have flash, but he is 2 levels down on the ADC currently.
Yeah, this has been really unfortunate for Trick. Also, the Hail of Blades, I'm just noting this now, is kind of questionable on Camille. Not blaming that for all the woes that Camille has experienced in the jungle, but the Graves has just been so far ahead, put on a clinic in the early game of how to path and how to dominate the opposing junglers. So he did an incredible job of taking the focus away from his lanes and just getting in Camille's face effectively and drawing all the attention to himself and snowballing so hard. And it looks like they are looking at the Rift Herald as well right now, that they might look to crack the outer turrets, or maybe even take that right to the Nexus.
It almost feels like Rift Herald shouldn't be alive currently because there is a missing mid inhibitor, but they still have about 4 minutes to pick it up.
Yeah, what time is it? Is this are we at 24 minutes? It feels like.
Exactly. It's kind of bizarre. They're looking topside. Great Revenge might be a little bit too pushed out. He does know that Anthony's in the bot lane, but that's the only person he sees in the entire map, and Rengar might be able to do enough damage to him. Oh my lord, look at that damage as the collateral damage finishes him off. 8,000 gold shutdown, almost 3 items at 16s in the minutes in the game. He doesn't even need CC for that. He just runs the bear down.
Yeah, and I think that might be credited a little bit to the tilt. Grave Revenge pushing out way beyond where he should be for not much of a reason.
Flash forward from below, but he does not get the headbutt. I saw the pulverize in his eyes, but it wasn't just enough. There's a desperate attempt coming 16 minutes into this game as the second inhibitor might be falling. Anthony has been calmly in the bot lane. A flash route from Mag, but it might just be icing on the cake as Alabama finally loses their star jungler. But as I mentioned, Nutrinks, the happy ADC, has been sitting farming for so long that he has no worry in the world to kill the rest of this team. It does look like Anthony is going to have to help them clean this up, though. Chris Meister, is still alive. Here comes Anthony right in the crisp. Wow, that's a lot of damage from the Scion. Knock up on to win as well, and Anthony might just run him down. He doesn't even care. Anthony does get the kill, flashes out. He's fine. Nutrinks, unfortunately, does go down to the cow. And the push might be stopped, but there are 2 inhibitors down, and I think both of the Nexus towers are down. What?
I'm not really one for forfeits in competitive play, but this might be a situation where you opt for that scenario where you just you get out of the game, you recollect, and you go for the next one.
Yeah, especially when you get TP'd on basically inside of your base, and
There
that
it is.
was game. Jeez, what a thrashing. What do you have to say about that, buddy?
Can I change my prediction?
No.
Then I'm going to be locked into my prediction. Not too happy about it, but as many solo queue players would say, jungle difference. I think that's kind of what it came down to. Rengar E-Boy just playing the Graves like a fiddle. Great mastery of the champion, pressuring all over the map, taking objectives, putting on a clinic, like I said before, that really just took the steering wheel of that game and never let go. Pretty impressive from that jungler in their first game of the split.
Extremely impressive and extremely explosive. I'm certain that FSG Eternity is looking for a quick break after that, and I might need a break as well just to kind of recollect myself from such an incredible game. We'll see you guys in just a second or two to get the draft of Game 2 going. Don't touch that dial. Folks, friends, and family, welcome back to the GXPC Week 1 of Season 5. This is Game 2 between FSG Eternity and University of South Alabama. In the first game, we saw a pretty impressive coming from the University of South Alabama. I believe it was the first game, and it was definitely the first game I've seen, and a very, very terrifying first game from them. Kairos, we probably talked about it during the break. I'm sure the whole chat talked about it during the break. Let's just go ahead and move on to the second game. It is a series, and while the first game does matter, you do have a few times, moments to kind of reset yourself and look towards the future. So what do we as FSG need to do to bring things back? And then more importantly, what do we as University of South Alabama need to do to close things out?
For University of South Alabama, I think if they just play the similar game plan, really we'll look to see how it plays out in Champ Select. If they're able to get another aggressive jungler, get 3 lanes that are relatively safe, and just pressure the jungle and track as well as they did in the last game, I think that they'll close out this series very cleanly. But FSG Eternity, if they're able to take Rengar E-Boy off of aggressive early champions, if they're able to get maybe a safer jungler that is not as gold dependent, or that can clear AoE camps a little bit better, that can keep up with the pace, and then get some lanes that just have more pressure and can really just take control in their lanes, then they might have a chance to even this out. And then game 3 could obviously be anybody's game if they're able to force it to that point. So that's what I would be looking for in Champ Select for each of these two teams.
I thought we were actually jumping into Champ Select here pretty soon, so I was hoping that your points could be led right into the first few bands.
That'd be so cool.
That would have been perfectly timed.
That would have been real great.
If only we had like a production crew that could set up various timings and transitions for us, as opposed to pretending like it was meant to be for like 15 seconds. So what's the first band coming out of FSG?
The first band, well, we'll have it counting down. We're at least in it, so that's the Rengar. There's no surprise there. I'm expecting it to be probably Graves. They might even throw 3 bans his way, just to be sure, just to be safe. I think that might be a good use of bans. I mean, yeah, they're great.
So, what would the third ban be?
The third ban, on that side, I'm actually not sure. I think that Camille in his hands could be pretty devastating, but they take away the Braum, which is fair. I think that they don't expect to pick an ADC, so they didn't want Southern Alabama to get the Braum Lucian pick. They grabbed the Galio. Did they have that last game, or was that HMO3 who had it? It
was University's HMO3 who had the Galio.
So we might see the mirror matchup where they swap and South Alabama picks up the Lissandra now, but they decided to stick with the Scion. I don't know if FSG is going to go for the Volibear again. I was told that it is a counter, that the Volibear can cancel the Scion Q, that there's a lot of abilities there, that there's good counter potential that we might not have seen played at the highest level, unfortunately, but we can't rule it out yet.
So, Xerath is interesting.
Yeah,
I like zapping people. Do you like zapping people?
I didn't see come up really that deep in the solo queue picks, but I think Xerath is a good pick. That it's long range, it stays back, it fits that theme that we were talking about of CSing from range, just having a safe lane and allowing the jungler to go get pressure for you and to win the game for you, kind of like what happened last game. And then the Aatrox is picked, and that's most likely going to be going into the top lane, so a little bit more aggressive there. And then the counters from Southern Alabama might be a Victor. Not sure if that's played at all by Anthony Ant, but that obviously arose as a good pick. And the Poppy, that might be in the jungle or could potentially be support. Very good against Alistar that I've seen. So a good situational pick that they might be predicting it and then flexing it to various positions, or it could be Aatrox jungle, Poppy top. So they're keeping themselves very flexible in the early stages here.
could be Galio APC. But I do want to question you about Xerath's roam potential. HMO 3 decided to give up a lot of his pressure in regards to roaming to the bot lane and helping Rengar. Is Xerath able to do that as well as Galio is?
Xerath isn't as much of a full-on Galio ult in, bringing a lot of crowd control, but he is able to roam and influence, because as soon as Xerath goes out of vision, he can use his long-range ultimate to impact side lanes to provide a little bit more damage, and that is a missed ban. Not sure if
we
we're going
will
to get
update
a call
you
on that
momentarily as soon as our production crew gets an understanding of what the ban is, but I think for now we're just going to move forward. Amumu is an interesting pick. It was hovered last time, I think, actually by Full Send Gaming. And it's going to be picked up by the University of South Alabama for Rengar, assumedly, unless he wants to show us something really, really fancy with a Xerath or a Scion jungler.
Yeah, I don't. I probably have some of the most Amumu games of anybody on the server, and I can say I wouldn't trust Amumu in any other lane than the jungle. He does have some build paths. I think tank is a little bit more viable than the AP build, but if you're snowballing, that's always an option that is available to you. So if Rengar E-Boy wants to get a little bit fancy, you play the Amumu. With the AP, that is available to him. With the Scion, you already have the tank there. You might pick up a tank support and have plenty of diversity in the tanks versus carries. And Full Send Gaming, I think that they might already be locked in with the Poppy in the jungle, which actually can be pretty good into Amumu. You can stop the bandage toss pull with your W, and also you can get really aggressive if you decide to take the electrocute and get in his face early on. So that can be played aggressively, or if the Aatrox goes into the jungle, obviously it could be an aggressive pick against the Amumu, which I'd really like to see them take advantage of. As Amumu is known for being not much of a champion pre-6.
Quick update on the ban. It actually was a missed ban, unfortunately. That means that University of South Alabama will only go with 4 bans. It is not a unknown champion. But they do pick up a Malphite. This is becoming a very bizarre composition. And starting to kind of lose track of their decision. I'm guessing that Malphite would be some sort of support-esque champion and or Xerath, perhaps. Twitch is actually a big favorite of mine. I think he's so damn cute. I really want the winter skin.
And going away from the cuteness of champions, Scion and Malphite can go either way in the top lane and the support flex. So Scion has been in support, Malphite as well. You can go AP and just blow someone up. So it depends on how they want to play it. And Yasuo, I am expecting the Malphite Yasuo bot lane.
I got a joke for you. How did the Yasuo get out of the locker room?
He has a key!
Hasaki!
Wow. I'm sad that I knew that. I don't know what that you said the joke or that I knew the answer already. But
that joke is amazing. I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's pretty cringe there, Hickory. I'm just sad to be a part of it.
Nah, you love it. All right, so I just closed Pro Draft on accident. So, where did you think that people were going to roll out on the side of University of South Alabama, since we have no idea where anyone is going? I guess it's going to be a Xerath APC, isn't it?
I think it's Yasuo bot carry. Xerath in the mid lane, Scion top, Malphite in the bot lane. Once they hit 6, they kind of just free farm, play really far back, play easy in the lane and get pushed in, and then once they hit 6, they have a lot of kill pressure. Obviously, we all know about the Yasuo hyper scaling complete monster in the late game, as well as the Malphite. Just that combo is very scary. So they're going to be playing for the late game, clearly building around that with the Amumu, the Scion engage, the Xerath damage is also pretty intense in the late game. So my only concern would be that if they get snowballed in the early game, there won't be really much recourse until they get more items and they scale. So it could be that we see them down a few towers, down CS in the mid game, but as long as they keep those inhibitors up, they should be able to power through if they're playing it smart and they just don't give too much in the early game. And then Full Send Gaming, you have to end early. There's not really another win condition. if this gets into late game and you're team fighting, it's not going to go very well for FSG.
So, speaking of going for FSG, like that transition, there's an 83% of the vote is for FSG Eternity. Assumingly, a lot of those votes came in before the first game, but the fan vote is still on the side of FSG, and the fan vote is still open. Now, I'm under the impression that there are a few University of South Alabama fans in this chat. You can vote for your home team, or you can vote against them if you believe they're going to lose for just a few more minutes before the next game starts. That is the information right there for you. I want to see more people vote because 83%, that's quite a lot for one team. I'm looking more for 50-50 odds. But we have everything out. Xerath is APC. Hooray.
I think a lot of those, they still have 23 seconds to switch that out if they choose to. So I think 20 seconds is the designated lock timer. I expect to see that switched over to give Nutrinks the Yasuo. Although he does have Xerath in his top 3 played. So they have played AP carry. So knowing that a little bit more about Nutrinks, they might just keep it with the Xerath AP carry. And it looks like they do. So a little bit of a different setup than what I was originally expecting.
Yeah, quite a bit different of a team composition coming out here. So, obviously last game we looked through Rengar almost entirely through the game. And HMO3 was a bit more of a support player, honestly, kind of just backing up his jungler with the help of Mag. Now we have a very, very aggressive mid laner for HMO3, one of my personal favorites, in fact, and a bit more of a support-esque engaged tank style jungler for Rengar. Does that change how the game is then played for the side of South Alabama?
Oh, absolutely. I think that they understand their win conditions as just the necessity to scale to get into the late game with some really impactful ultimates. The Scion ultimate will be on such a low cooldown that they can spam it for engages. The Malphite Yasuo deadly combination, obviously, Xerath pumping out a lot of damage, sitting in the back line, consistent DPS, and then also just the Amumu ult to contribute on top of all of that. So if they're able to play around that win condition to concede the early game without getting too far behind, they should do pretty well. And the one kind of major grievance that I would have with FSG is just the inability to use the Galio ult offensively. Right now, they're only able to use it defensively, really, and maybe offensively if they get a good Aatrox flank, but the Poppy can't really get into the backline easily. They don't have a ton of dive access, so the Galio won't have a lot of ways to use his ult offensively. So it's going to be very defensive, which goes well for Southern Alabama as they want to get into the late game, and those mid-game fights aren't going to be as likely to break out, and it's going to be really tough for FSG to take the fights that they want to.
So I'll give you an opportunity really quickly. You had told me that it'd be a 2-1 to FSG. And I will give you this one chance to change your prediction.
Oh, yeah, 2-0. 2-0 Southern Alabama.
All right.
Absolutely. I was expecting something else, but yeah, absolutely. Switching that.
We're swapping all the way around from a 2-1 for FSG to a 2-0 to the University of South Alabama. I believe there are a few people in the chat that would agree with you, as well as probably plenty of people in the chat that will disagree with you. I'm not going to give you my prediction because my prediction will inevitably be wrong. But I just have any questions, thoughts, comments about this game before we pop into it. Where's First Blood?
Where's First Blood? Oh,
where? No, where? I didn't say anything else. Just a where.
Where? In the jungle.
I
can say
what
in
kind of
the
location? Jungle.
Location in the jungle?
We'll find out the location in the jungle as soon as the game starts. But before we get to that, we have a word from our sponsors. Do not touch that dial. We will see you in a few moments. Thank you very much for tuning in.
My name is Tim Borseth, and I own and operate GXPC in Decorah, Iowa. GXPC is a geek paradise. We carry everything from Pong and Atari all the way to Xbox One and PS4, and all the games that would go with those consoles as well. We also carry a ton of movies. We have handheld games. We have Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon. We have D&D and Pathfinder. We carry Warhammer 40K. We have a vintage Star Wars selection. This place is great. My wife and I have had 6 kids, and they are so much fun to work with here at the store. They run the store as much as I do.
And we now repair cell phones, game consoles, computers, and small electronics.
Our store is instant fun. Not only is there cool music and cool stuff to look at, but we have a game room that is so much fun. It's free to play, and you just plug in your game system and enjoy life. The GXPC motto is bringing joy to people's lives through our products, people, and a place to play. So you have got to come to Decorah, Iowa, and check out GXPC and experience this geek gaming paradise.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the GXPC Season 5. It is Week 1 between University of South Alabama and FSG Eternity. A pretty dominating game coming out of South Alabama for the first game. The second game is all up to FSG Eternity bringing it back. A very interesting draft coming out of really both teams, honestly. But I want to see how it goes. A 5-man from FSG coming out. They do have the thresh hook from below, but it doesn't look like they're really trying to do it. Line of scrimmage from the side of South Alabama. Spots them out.
Yeah, they had no luck on that one. It was basically just, your standard 5 across for South Alabama to sniff that out, and Ringar E-Boy looks like he's kind of starting on the top side. We'll see if he gets back down to the bottom side, but really an interesting draft coming out. It was hard to tell where everyone was going until the last minute. There could have been a lot of different flex potential, but it ends up being the Scion top with the Yasuo mid, then the Malphite in support, and they're going with an AP carry. We haven't seen a ton of AP carries in the league yet, obviously the first week, but we'll see how it works out and if this kind of shapes some of the meta going forward or if it falls flat.
We're also a couple of patches out from the very well-received ADC changes that led to a lot of APCs in the bot lane. So it is kind of interesting to see Xerath. Definitely not one that I see too often, but I like it. I like switching things up. With the Malphite is incredibly switched up. I want to mention there's a double Raptor start from both junglers going into double red buff, but Hook comes out from below. That's a lot of froms. A lot of damage actually going on to Mag, who does have comment as opposed to something a little bit tankier, and he's going to get chunked out a little bit, but he's got a few potions to keep himself alive. And wow, great tornadoes coming out of HMO 3. He's hit about 3 of them already.
Yeah, this is probably going to be oh, there it is.
Yeah, there is the hook coming out of from below. Dash forward as well. Flay backwards, but tons of damage coming out of Nutrinks. They weren't really expecting so much from the APC. Pale is burned by wind. And actually another stun coming out of Nutrinks as well, but I think that might be the end of it. I think we're okay.
Yeah, that ends up being a pretty big trade in Summoners. The health is about even, actually a small advantage to Nutrinks, coming out healthier at the end of that trade, and they do burn the heal. So Twitch heal down, and then both Summoners down for Thresh, and it looks like we're getting a gank here.
Yeah, actually, I believe I'm a little bit far behind as Ren does go in. I think I'm a few seconds behind. I'm sorry about that. A flay forward. Backwards, excuse me, from below. That was actually a lot. Wow. Oh, it does get the first blood for Wind with the poison. He does burn his flash, but hey, he gets first blood and a hook as well on to Nutrinks. Might get a second one as well, and Wind does not have just enough damage, unfortunately. Oh, he might get picked off here. I think he's okay, actually. And there... Another stun coming out. A double kill actually coming from Nutrinks. Very, very easily picked up. A little bit greedy coming from the side of Wind as Rengar E-Boy was in the right place to back up his APC. Things get set up.
That was a pretty huge fight. Also, this entire wave is going to burn down to the tower, and if Nutrinks doesn't touch that wave, then it's going to shove back into him. He's just going to go ahead and take it, and this Twitch is going to be very far behind. 450 gold bounty already on Nutrinks at 4 minutes, and it's going to be a big farm advantage as well, building up. So we'll see if this bot lane, pretty vulnerable, but if they're able to get into that late game a little bit sooner, then it could be pretty scary for the other team, for FSG.
Yes, I do think we need another time update, actually. And I think we should be good to go. I'm sorry about that, folks. I did kind of break character there just to make sure. I'd rather you have a good broadcast than me be pretending like things are going good. A flash away from Mag does keep him alive, but there has been fight after fight after fight in the bot lane. Absolutely no summoners for either side. It looks like from below has really been hitting these hooks, but unfortunately Nutrinks has been getting the kind of better side of it.
And Anthony goes really low, stepping up a little bit too close to the Aatrox there into the top lane. And if you get hit by 1Q, you just get tons of damage piled on. So the junglers, I'm surprised, haven't been super impactful. Here's a game coming top.
Yeah, speaking of, Rengar is coming in as soon as Anthony he does throw the TP, but it's a fight in the bot lane as well. We're going to look both ways at the same time. Hook on to Nutrix, doesn't get too much. Grave Revenge really wants to make it out. He does get stunned. Kill given over to Anthony and pretty easily, actually. The fight in the bot lane did kind of dissipate a little bit, and the TP play from Anthony Ann, it was a bait from the whole time. It almost seems like he got low and then TP'd right in. Anthony Ann does miss the hook there, stunned forward, and UMAG does get the kill pretty simply. Nutrix is 2-0-1 right now. It's actually looking pretty scary for an APC. And actually a TP coming in from Grave Revenge into the bot lane. Excuse me, those Chris Meister's TP as Grave Revenge to go to the top lane just to kind of clear things out. I think he's worried that Nutrix would pick something else up. Things do dissipate, but with a kill going over again to the side of South Alabama.
Nutrix is bringing out quite a bit of damage with the finished Lost Chapter early on. Another fight here in mid.
Yeah, and it kind of looks like Rengar or E-Boy might be a little deep here, but with the side of HMO, they do get the taunt off from Charismeister. It's going to be enough to get them away, but a lot of damage done. I think they did see most of the Raptors. Anthony Ant getting really beat up here. He does have to unstoppably run away to keep himself alive. Good usage of the ult, but it will be down for a few moments. Keep himself alive, but he might have to reset here, unfortunately.
And Rengar E-Boy has been in the right places at the right times again in this game, putting a lot of pressure onto Trick with a small farm advantage already, and has been able to pick up a few assists, so a couple assists showing up into the bot lane and then again into the top lane there. So putting a lot of pressure onto FSG. And if they're able to, maintain this lead into the mid game, this should be a breeze. And Yasuo is fighting Poppy.
HMO3 does find Trick. I was going to mention that the awareness of Trick, where Trick is from the side of South Alabama, is incredibly impressive. They're mainly just tracking him, and also the warding on the side of the enemy jungle is incredibly impressive. And that has led Drankar to be in the right place at the right time, as you just mentioned. And even though HMO kind of seemingly was tricked by him, it seemed like he actually really did know where he was. In fact, he's going to find him once again. Trick is 2 levels down on the pretty scary Rengar, but here comes Chris Meister. Oh, great dash from HMO3. Does pick up the kill. He's looking for his second one. He does have Hatsagi to take him out, but it looks like from below he's going to try to finish this off. Maybe not enough damage, though. Chris Meister might be bitten off a little bit more than he can chew, as HMO3 is still pretty healthy. He does have Flash. He gets a Tornado, but it's not enough. A little bit too far away. Both the supports have come. Now, he does pick up the red buff. He's really, really low. He's looking for Wind. He does not get the kill on Wind. Wind picks up the kill on HMO3 as from below comes. Nutrix pops the ult to try and clear things up, but he doesn't have enough damage to trying to get UA Mag out of there. Mag might be down. I think Mag is going down to from below. A hook goes just wide of Nutrix, and that might just be the end of the play.
And that was pretty deep from HMO going in for the invade. He ends up picking up the kill on the Poppy, but then he goes down to the Galio with the, not the Thornmail Rush, but the Bramble Vest component already finished. That was first item rush. So that's why the Galio didn't quite have the damage to take him out, ended up inflicting some damage on himself. So Galio too tanky already. Rengar E-Boy coming in.
They are looking for flash forward. Does not get the root, unfortunately. He's still kind of looking for it. The bandage toss wasn't enough. I think from below is going to be able to get his AD out of here potentially. Actually, it does go down, but Nutrix might have got himself a little bit too deep. Same with Rengar. Great ultimate coming out of Rengar. He does not get the kill, unfortunately, on the from below, but he's ready to clear things up. UA Mag is here as well. Oh, Nutrix does pop up the kill onto from below very nicely, throwing through most of the rotation. He does definitely play Xerath very comfortably in bot lane.
And this game has been all about the bot lane. Last time it was about the jungle advantage, but then right here it's just been all going through Nutrix and UMAG. And they don't even have level 6 yet on the support. So when that comes through, it's going to be even scarier. But they're putting a lot of damage onto this tower. And most of this is just credited to the the way that they've been playing this early game so well. And top lane has more or less been ignored by both teams. So South Alabama just ganking it that one time effectively.
Yeah.
And pretty much leaving it to be.
So I mentioned that last game was my favorite kind of ADC game. This is my least favorite kind of ADC game, where I'm required to do things. But speaking of doing things, Rengar is going to try to return back onto Grave Revenge. I don't think they have enough damage. I believe the Unstoppable Onslaught was stopped. I think it was just off camera, but another stun from Nutrix comes out. Here comes Mag. He finishes off, finally gets level 6 without ultimate. 10 minutes in the game. That's enough damage to pop him out. I think that pink ward is a little bit misquick. I thought it was a cute destruction of the, the lantern, but it was not to be had. HMO3 kind of getting aggressive here. Not sure he wants to go any further. Trick, I just realized, has Predator, interestingly enough. I saw it on Rengar's head, and we're getting close to the bot lane tower going down. But not just yet.
Yeah, there's been...
Actually,
basically,
looks like a rotation in the mid lane as a taunt comes out on HMO3. Here comes Wind as well. Here comes Trick as well. He's going to respect Flash as Rengar returns. The return as well from Chris Meister, but does not enough as Wind does go down. HMO3 has an incredible amount of damage, but both the kills do go over to Rengar Evo. Unfortunately, not a lot of kills going on to this Yasuo, but he has had complete control of his lane. And what looked like a pretty easy bait on HMO3 turned out to be a double kill on the side of Rengar.
Yeah, when they're this far ahead early on in the game, it's like it's already 20 minutes for them, basically, that they're starting to scale. They're starting to get items, starting to get plenty of gold on themselves, and we're only at 12 minutes. So this is a pretty solid advantage for the team that already scales better. So they might only be up 3.5k gold, but really that's quite a bit more when you look at their scaling. They might be looking for a pick on this Twitch here.
He is kind of out of position looking for the Krugs. He gets hit by twice from Nutrix. I think it was actually the Comet that took him out. I was just about to mention before that fairly easy kill that at the very least for FSG, there is not a bunch of Infernal Drakes coming up for the side of South Alabama. As Mag actually pops the Ignite, he's looking to kill from below. Nutrix does get bopped away, but he gets hooked back in, but he gets bopped away again. And he might have to help Mag get out, but that was another easy kill. 5-0-2 for the side of Nutrix, who was, while not a bad player by last game by any means, basically just kind of sat and relaxed. He might lose his support here. Actually, Mag does have the flash. Couple wards go down. The fight might be over for now. Wow, Nutrix got some pop in him. 6-0-2 for the APC, the bot lane.
And there's just been fight after fight after fight, and FSG has not come out on top of any of them. It's just been really unfortunate for them that they need to win these early fights, and they're not getting any favors. They're getting nothing handed to them from South Alabama. So Nutrix already 6-0-2, 900 gold, and they have the gold exactly where they want it to be. So pretty far ahead, blue buff on him, and they can look to take down this first tower. Probably not before the 14-minute mark, but fight in the top lane.
Anthony was looking for a kill there, but he probably forgot that Grave Revenge did have his ultimate still up. The resurrection will come as HMO3 might have been found out in the jungle. He does last breath onto Trick, but Trick's a little bit tankier than he might have realized. He is going to probably, potentially, maybe somewhat go down as Chris Master does Winds of War him to the ground. And I believe Anthony and Grave Revenge decided to have a gentleman's agreement there as they both walked away from each other. Still 1-0 and 0-1 with a pretty equal CS differential between the two of them. But Trink's got a little bit hyphy there as flashes away. Luckily, it does not go down, but it was a little bit possibly aggressive to be that far up. But he's 3 levels up from below, and flash forward to the Sad Mummy as Rengar on to Win. Win has to flash away. He might actually get a little bit of return damage here, and he does get a shutdown for Win. 600 gold in his pocket. He's actually 3-3. He's not really that far behind despite the way his lane looks.
Yeah, that was a little bit of an int from Rengar E-Boy, going in a little bit too deep there. You typically want to save your flash for better offensive plays that are surefire. Here's Trick going.
And the entrance is probably going to be enough to pop him down, but actually Trick does pick up the kill. Not much to say there. Nutrix was simply too low and simply too far up. I thinking there's a mid laner or something, not an ADC. You get it in your head sometimes that you can actually play the game when you're an ADC, but you can't. I'm sorry, you can't. But HMO3 might want to clear things up. He does have Last Breath. If he hits this, he might go in. He doesn't, and decides to chillax. I see some comeback rallies in the chat. People are believing in the FSG dream. A couple kills did go to the side of FSG, but unfortunately only one kill was onto Wind. And a pretty equal carry top laner against a pretty generic tank top laner. Not sure how I'm feeling about it just yet. We'll see what Rengar was to say about it. He does, oh, very nice stop from Trick. Does keep them out, but he actually goes back in, gets ignited. Easy kill from HMO3. That looked like a little bit of a taunt there at the end of it as well. HMO's feeling it for sure at 2-2. He did actually go Wit's End. I didn't notice that until now. A little bit of interesting. You mentioned the Bramble Veil. They are actually being surprisingly respectful to each other in the mid lane, despite how much they are engaging upon each other.
And I think that this game is going to get pretty hard for FSG here. That the Bramble Vest rush and the armor rush on the Galio isn't going to really do much against that 6-1 Xerath. And there's a gank coming top.
Yeah, the unstoppable onslaught is stopped by the flash. Very well done by Grave Revenge. Anthony Ant to go down, and he does flash out, and he does blast cone out, and he gets out very nicely, but I think Grave Revenge played that just about as well as he could have with the flash onto Anthony Ant to stop the unstoppable, but clearly stoppable onslaught. And taunt onto HMO3 might actually take him out. Here comes Trick as well. HMO is a lot lower and a lot farther than he might have realized. Last Breath trying to return some damage, but I don't think he has enough. That is Wit's End, unfortunately, as opposed to Boots and Last Whisper, but that is going to be a trade for the bot lane tier 1, bot lane tier 2 as well. Not a terrible trade, unless they want to keep it up. 1 kill for 2 towers. They are actually still pushing it out. How do you feel about this?
And they might give him a chance to collapse, but Rengar still has his ultimate available. They can dive.
And so does Xerath. He's trying to clear out from below. He got a big rotation onto him, but not just enough. They definitely feel confident in pushing this tower down, as Rengar E-Boy is just trying to bait something, anything out. He knows Nutrinx has the damage in him. He just needs FSG to walk into them, but unfortunately not enough. They do respect the Sad Mummy. And the side of South Alabama is going to let things calm down for the time being. But those were finally the first towers going down, seemingly slow, although still in a pretty quick clip from the side of South Alabama, as mid and specifically top are very, very low, ready to go down, potentially to the side of Anthony Ant, who is busting around Grave Revenge a little bit. World Ender still out for about 20 or so seconds. Probably going to be what Grave Revenge is looking for before he can really protect this tower.
And just like last game, it feels like it's later in the game than it already is. The Rift Shuttle is still available to be taken, and Anthony might be out of position.
Anthony is pretty far. The entrance is not enough. Flash forward from Mag to get in here. And Anthony actually did know his damage. He knew what he was doing. Grave Revenge is very, very low. Ignite onto Trick might not be enough. Trick's actually pretty tanky at this time. HMO tries to clear up Grave Revenge. He is going to pick it up. He returns back to get Trick. Misses. They both miss. They completely go wide as a flash forward from HMO to get the double kill. I'm not sure that was necessarily necessary, but it does go for it either way. He gets hooked from below. The death sentences have been on point from the support of FSG, but there has not really been a lot of follow-up to them, unfortunately. TSM chats in the chat. You can hear them around the world as Anthony Ant is definitely feeling it. He's behind the tower. He's tanking as much as he can. They are a pretty beefy team that we haven't mentioned too many times. Another death sentence hit, another death sentence without anything behind it. HMO is itching for a fight, although he hasn't back for some time. He's a very, very defensive build for the Yasuo. Kind of interesting seeing him play a extremely defensive Galio in the previous game, and now a defensive-esque Yasuo in this game. Interesting to see the play as well. There comes a death sentence. There's got to be something coming from here as well. Winds of War go taunt as well. Sad Mummy onto many, many players of FSG. Actually, a lot going back and forth. HMO3 is really, really low. So I'm looking at right now. He does go down. And actually, Wind has been free to shoot this whole time. It looks like the crit-based ADC is going to clear up the fight. You go for late game, you play for late game. Finally, 20 minutes in the game, it is late game apparently. And he might go down to Anthony Ant. I think he's okay. Maybe he does make it out. Nutrix really tries to go for it. Brave Revenge wants to protect his ADC, but Nutrix is a very, very scary 7-1. Man, 4-4-3 on the side of FSG. Their first one fight in something like 40 minutes of game time in 2 games. And we do have a pause because it is the GXPC.
Wow. There's been nonstop fighting for 20 minutes, and we're already at 28 kills, so more than a kill per minute. Pretty intense so far, and I think that if there was a way for FSG to get back into the game, it might be with a little bit of scaling. I've mentioned time and time again that South Alabama really does have good win conditions in the late game, but if Twitch can get more kills, if they can get more shutdown gold, and they are able to play the team fights perfectly, maybe get a pick with the Thresh off the hook, so if they're able to take the fights on their terms and come into the fight with an advantage, picking off a key member, then they might just be able to turn one of those fights, get a major objective, and then go for the end. But right now, they haven't touched a turret. They haven't taken any Drakes, and they're getting sieged on. So it doesn't look too promising for them, but if there is a way to come back as we return from the pause, it might be through this Twitch getting protected, as the crit ADC will have plenty of damage in the late game, but they're going to have to play very well without any more mistakes this game.
Unfortunately, said crit ADC does not have very good CS at all. He was extremely bullied in the early game and is about half of the CS that he probably should be looking at right now. So while he is picking up a couple kills, he does not have a lot of gold. And speaking of gold, we did see a win finally from the side of FSG, but I want to remind you that it is a 7,000 gold lead for South Alabama, who is trying to rock down Chris Meister, but from below has been protecting the rest of his team for some time now. But I think they're trying to be a little bit more calculated, is the side of South Alabama. They were very, very hypey in the early part of the game, but now they're just going to chill things out, control their waves, potentially get an objective like the first dragon of the game.
Yeah, the Cloud Drake has been getting neglected quite a bit, and I don't think either team took the Rift Herald in this one, despite it being up for, obviously, till 20 minutes. So that didn't get taken, and I think that's a little bit missed out by South Alabama, that they might be kicking themselves now as the game is stalling out a little bit. And it looks like Anthony is kind of out of position. He should go down here, not much way out.
Indeed, he's unstoppably going into the base. He might be able to Tokyo Drift, that is number 3, through it. I never watched that one, and he actually does get pretty far, but here comes a flash from Anthony Ant to get away from Brave Revenge, but I think Brave Revenge will be able to clear this up. Potentially the Sad Mummy is going to distract the rest of the team. Last Breath coming out of HMO 3 does not have a lot of damage because of this safety build he's been going, and Win can turn things around. Again, a double kill for him. Now 6-3 is the late game ADC. A flash forward from below does pick up another kill. A triple kill coming from Win, potentially a quadra kill. He does get the quadra kill. And actually, oddly enough, Anthony Ant is the only man standing on the side of South Alabama. Quite the throw coming out from the team that has been massively ahead. Now only about 4,000 gold ahead with several towers left to go down. The teams might be deciding that we want a series on our hand, as the first tower for FSG does go down in this series. And now about a 3,000 gold lead.
From below put the team on his back in that fight. It was over-aggressive from South Alabama to go for that fight, but From Below hit 2 huge hooks to make sure that the Yasuo wasn't able to get more damage off after his ultimate. Then he continued on and to get the hook on Nutrinx at max distance. Just really impressive play from Below. Putting the team on his back and trying to keep them in this as best possible. And exactly what I was talking about during that short pause was about the win condition of this Twitch popping off if they're able to protect him and able to turn these engages back on South Alabama, and that's exactly what they did in that last fight. So a little bit of wind in the sails of FSG. They aren't ready to quit just yet.
There is still a sizable gold lead for the side of South Alabama, and we haven't seen them Baron dance just yet because of how fast previous game was won. We didn't even see FSG Baron dance last game, so potentially a whole different game is going to be again now. And now 5,000 gold will become less and less of a margin here soon. And they're only about an item or so away from Win being utterly terrifying. Interestingly enough, there's only about an item away for HMO 3 being quite terrifying, but I'm starting to become more and more worried about this safety build coming out of the Yasuo, especially with his competitor in Wind. Things are definitely calming down. Have to see what the teams want to do. They might even just want to go on a trick right now. You know what? At South Alabama, I'm saying this should be going slow, but they're still going all to the wall as an unstoppable onslaught does hit from below. He's instantly deleted. That was the one who saved the fight last time. Last breath onto Great Revenge. He's pretty tanky, actually. He doesn't die very easily. And Matt goes super deep and trade of supports as Win opens up on to the enemy team. But I think that's going to be probably it for the fight. Trade of supports. Not too much else. Nutrinx kind of wants to continue. Chris Meister does get slightly away, but Rengar actually does come from a flank to get a double kill, or 2 kills rather, for Nutrinx and for himself. Win has still been in the fight the whole time, though. He's full health. He wants to clear things out. Nutrinx flashes forward, does not get the kill. 3 on the side of, 4 on the side of Alabama. They're trying to get a 5th. They do not get it. Nutrinx is probably going to go down. Rengar kind of out of position. Nutrinx does have the stopwatch to keep himself alive. Just a little bit of help on the side of Anthony, but I don't think it's enough to pick off From Below, possibly for the second time this fight. From Below does die twice in one fight. The ace finally does go down for South Alabama. Not as clean, not as sexy, not as fast as they have been, but they do win the team fight once again.
That was just an extremely prolonged team fight. Nutrinx able to pop out a lot of damage, and then also Rengar E-Boy staying alive for a very long time. So those prolonged fights, but no objective goes down for either team. So these kills kind of prolong the game without getting us any closer to a final outcome. But a few more items coming in. 23 Magi stacks for Nutrinx on the Xerath, and we get a pause right here. So we're going to catch our breath, as hopefully the teams are as well, after just a frenetic pace throughout the first 25 minutes of this game.
Unfortunately, there is some FPS drops on the side of South Alabama. We want the players to be able to play at their highest level and their peak, so we do not want them to be playing with any lag, hence the pause, and potentially we'll see if he wants to reload or not. Hopefully it'll be fixed quite quickly. I think we are going to pop back in here pretty soon. But yes, this game, hectic. The series, hectic. I'm starting to kind of wonder how the games will play out in the rest of the season, if this is any indication, or even just the rest of this series, if the teams are going to kind of blow their steam, run into a third game without anything left in the tank. We're going to have to get in the game right now, and you are absolutely right. Almost very, very few neutral objectives have been taken this game. In fact, only 1 Drake has been taken and nothing else. And while some towers have been taken, the wave pushing has not been nearly as impressive for the side of South Alabama. They are still about a 7,000 lead, which is, I believe, still a major lead at 26 minutes. I'd have to kind of check my math there. Pretty close to one, at least. Maybe it's 8,000 in 26 minutes. Still definitely far and above their opponent team, who is actually kind of looking around the Baron. Do you think they can go Baron? Do you think they can bait this, or are they just kind of clearing out some wards?
I think that they just want to maintain control, be able to go and approach the Dragon, or the Baron, excuse me, to know when South Alabama decides to go and take it. But right now they're rotating over for the Cloud Drake, which I think they might just give up, unless South Alabama wants to take the fight. But Sion in the top lane is going to be able to threaten the base here and still have TP available.
Does go in, though. The hero's entrance is only onto the very tanky Rengar. Sad Mummy onto most of them. Trick keeps going in. They're just going. They know that Anthony's not here. Anthony finally gets to the top, but Trick is behind them. Win's behind them. He's trying to clear him up from the backside, but he might just be in the side of HMO3. HMO3 gets an easy kill onto Win. That is the almost entirety of the damage of FSG. They need to clear things out before they just run out of steam, but they might have played that fight a little bit too fast and furious. HMO3 chasing down his opponent, Chris Meister, and a 4-man standing South Alabama looks very, very confident as they go into the mid lane to clear out the tier 2 tower, potentially the tier 3 turret, potentially the inhibitor, and potentially the game as HMO3 does try and clear this out. He's been kind of vexed by the Chrismeister here in the red side of the jungle, the red buff jungle, excuse me, as Rengar does finally get the ace. The tier 3 tower is going to go down, but the respawns might be just enough for the inhibitor. Not sure. It does look like they want to back it off. Might have actually stayed just slightly too long, actually, as Grave Revenge does knock it down. Mag gets shut down onto him. And things are going to potentially take a breather as HMO3 walks into a group 2 for the 5th time this game and dies.
And they've just been trading back and forth. A little bit of an overstay by South Alabama. A little bit greedy and might not have been looking at the death timers, but the fight before that was very well played by South Alabama, using that TP extremely well. And they're going to finally get to pick up kind of their reward for that was the middle inhibitor turret, and then also they get the Drake. But Trick going in here to try and secure some vision around the Baron to make sure they aren't able to rotate over to that as easily as they would like. So I think we're in for a one final really big fight. Well, final if South Alabama wins it, as they do have the open inhibitor in the mid lane. But I'd really like to see FSG try and use their TPs. They have 2 TPs on Chrismeister and then also on the Aatrox, Grave Revenge, to go and try and pick up those outer turrets. They could send somebody to split push, try and get some of that gold back into their pockets, as they've only taken down 1 turret in this game. That is a lot of standing gold still available to them that they haven't even started to scratch the surface of. And so I'd like to see them try and go for that a little bit if they're able to, which with the 2 TPs up, I think that they should try and take advantage of that.
Absolutely. South Alabama has been sitting at a major gold lead for the better part of this entire series, and any standing gold that FSG can pick up is pretty important. And you're absolutely right. I haven't seen very many TPs come out of the side of FSG at all, with a great TP coming from Anthony Ant, but it looks like Rengar Eboy wants to finish this out. He flashes forward for the sad mummy. Grave Revenge is just too squishy at this point. Here comes an unstoppable Anthony Ant into the middle. A massive knockup, but a massive last breath. HMO3 wants to clear this out. He wants to finish the game. Nutrix is behind him. Wind is doing as much damage as he can, but he might just not have the damage with him. He just finished his IE, but I think it's not enough. They take out HMO3. That's about all that's in the tank. Rengar E-Boy does not see where it goes. Surprisingly, Grave Revenge didn't die. I don't know how. He actually made it back to the platform, the spawner platform, and has revived or healed himself up. But 2 mid inhibitor, bottom inhibitor does go down. Mag is going to be the sacrificial mountain to get his top laner out. Not the cleanest of fights, not the game-winning fight, but yet again a massive win for the side of South Alabama. Now almost 10,000 gold ahead, 30 minutes in the game. They're looking for a Baron. They're looking to close the game pretty confidently.
And that's all South Alabama really needed in that situation. They get the double inhib down, and so that's going to force at least 1 or 2 members of FSG to stay in the base to be clearing those constantly. And they do have the 2 TPs to be able to join a Baron fight, but now it's really on South Alabama to go take control over this Baron area and force out the teleports from FSG to join the fight. So we'll see if they're able to synchronize their side lanes to really get a lot of pressure in the base while they're trying to dance around this Baron, and how they're able to orchestrate this fight. Interesting
decision making from Anthony Ant to basically give her the Scuttle Crab. But nothing is going down. You're right. They do need to psych up the side waves, which they're way off of. Anthony Ant does not have his TP either way. Probably going to wait for that for just the time being, as they're not clearing much of the vision over down the Baron pit, but they might be looking for it. It's kind of hard to tell. They are such an aggressive team that when it would seem like they're going for vision, they end up going for a team fight. As Rengar E-Boy does find Wind, the entire damage source of the side of FSG, almost obliterated in one shot, but here comes Matt to clear him out, and that is all of the damage from FSG. It's exactly what they're looking for. Matt flash forward for that just to clean it up. He thinks he has the win in his mind, as the waves are kind of pushing up almost slightly. Death Sentence does go wide. A lot of members of FSG are kind of out of position. They're trying to go to Nutrinx. Nutrinx is the target right here. Can he get out? He does have flash. He does have stopwatch. He makes it just barely. Last breath to help him out. Unstoppable Onslaught to help him out. He doesn't go down just yet. He has heal. He doesn't go down to the Ignite. Grave Revenge blows everything in the tank just to get him, but it might not have been enough as the rest of the team does clear things up. HMO 3 is still very high in health. Rengar E-Boy all of a sudden made his way to the Baron Pit to finish off Chris Meister. Trick is the last man standing. He has an entire team against him. He's entire waves against him. This very well be the end. It looks like Wind has respawned. He has gotten back up. Great stopwatch from HMO 3 to get out of most of Wind's ultimate, and that might just be the end. Not the sexiest, not the cleanest of game 2s after such a blowout of game 1, but a 2-0 very solidly from the side of our newest team, University of South Alabama.
Yep, they wrapped that up. They didn't even have to take the Baron, so 0 Barons taken in this series, although they had every ability to do so. They decided to leave that. They just go in and they continue to fight, which has kind of been normative for the first week of games here in Season 5. Just lots of fighting, very fast-paced games, lots of kills, lots of deaths, and very, very bloody. So this kind of fits in with all the other games that we've seen, but extremely dominant performance from South Alabama. In the second game, seems like they were having a little bit more fun. Trying to switch things up a little bit, which you like to see, but they're still able to pull in the win pretty safely in the end.
Absolutely, it looked very comfortable. Nutrinx with the Mage Eye Soul Stealer is so fun to see. I do have a question for you. We have a winning team, which means that we are going to have an interview with one of the winning members. Who would you like that winning member to be interviewed to be?
I have to say that Rengar E-Boy's performance in the first game was probably the most dominant jungle performance I've seen in GXPC, or definitely casted. So I would say, and then new game is obviously a honorable mention, but Rengar E-Boy was still playing very well in the second game, so I would have to give it to the jungler for.
Okay, let's see if we can get Rengar in here for a quick interview. See what he has to say. That was an incredible series. Not what I would expect. That's my first back. Welcome, Rengar E-Boy. First of all, welcome to the GXPC, but also welcome to the winner's interview. My name is Hickory, and with me is Kairos. He is the color caster, the analyst, and he's going to ask you a couple of questions about that victory and how you feel about the league itself. Kairos, can you take it away? But first of all, Rengar, how's it going? Hi, buddy.
It's going good.
So, I think that we can all agree that first game was one of the most dominant performances that we have seen in quite some time. Definitely that I've casted. What was kind of the plan going in? Obviously, you're going to draw the Rengar ban just based on the name, and then there's not a lot of research to be done on you this season. Did you have the Graves as a pocket pick, or how did you decide the play style and the champ that you wanted for game 1?
Yeah, I just practiced like picks on an account I was leveling up and just playing flex games and normals. I played ranked for a bit, and then I just didn't want to do it anymore, and I was taking a break over like the winter break, so I haven't played many games then.
Got it. So joining this South Alabama roster, how has it been building the synergy between the teammates? How has it been starting this new season? How long have you guys been together? What are you doing to get to where you want to be?
Yeah, we got together like 4 or 5 months ago, and we've just been doing scrims every few weeks and just practicing synergy, and we just figured out what champions we're all comfortable on and figured out how to fit them together into a cohesive team comp.
And AP of Mumu is one of those champions?
Yeah.
Very, very near and dear to my heart. I can appreciate that for sure. Yeah. And Hickory, did you have any specific questions?
Yeah, I always like to ask people how they feel about playing competitively. How many times, like, is this something that's new to you? Is this something that's old and familiar to you?
Yeah, no, this is really new to me because I've never played in anything remotely competitive in any game, not even just League.
Hell yeah, brother. That's awesome to hear. I'm glad. I hope you enjoyed at least the
I
first
did
game. Obviously,
enjoy.
great to hear. There's a bunch more games. Very impressive win coming out. Do you have any things you want to say to the audience? Any shout outs? Any people you want to call out in the jungle that you might be playing next time?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, Rengar Ebor, congratulations. Thank you very much. Welcome you and your team and all the other newcomers to the GXPC. I hope you have a good evening. Thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, folks, I want Kairos to say that he loves you.
We're gonna be waiting for a while. That might be on the next stream. You're gonna have to stop in again to see if I love Hickory and Nick and everybody else and all of you in chat, because I know that some of you are real degenerates.
Damn, bro. I love all of you, especially for tuning into the GXPC for Season 5. Thank you all very much for tuning in. We had a great series today. We're going to have some more tomorrow, the next day, every day of the week, but not actually every day of the week. Check the schedule because I don't follow it. I just do what I'm told. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to hit follow. Make sure to hit subscribe. See you next time. And from us at the GXPC, as well as the production crew, I hope you enjoyed and I hope you love us and see us again soon. Thank you very much. My name was Hickory, and with me is my buddy Kairos.